1, 0.
All right, and here we have it, Supreme1Up. So far, I hope you guys have been impressed. This is the Supreme1Up image I've been promising you guys back since December or so of last year. Now, this is based on the Supreme Unified build that has also been released today. The base build is 13 gigs, and so I've taken their build and revitalized it specifically for arcade games and arcade modders, and specifically in mind the Arcade1Up community. A while ago I had reached out to the community and looked around, saw what was going on, and I noticed that most of the forums were filled with Retropie questions. Modders asking questions about Retropie, what works, what doesn't work. Games are freezing. People asking questions for help. And it's kind of difficult to do because there's so many, well, there's a very limited number of builds out there, but there's quite a few images. A build would be something where someone submits a base image, or base build with scripts and whatnot. However, an image could be somebody either adding or deleting ROMs or doing other customizations on top of that build. So, for example, the Supreme Unified image, which has also been released today, or actually, I'm sorry, Supreme Unified build is a build, but this is an image based upon that build. Loaded with arcade games and arcade only. This image consists of a total of 54 gigabytes. So let's get into it. Look at some of the features, the customizations I've made, and I hope you guys are impressed and choose to download and install this. I've reached out to people in the community, asked them what kind of sounds they wanted to hear in the background. I've added customized soundtracks, which I have made myself or edited using Adobe Audition. We have customized splash screens that I've made with Adobe After Effects and Premiere. So let's see exactly what we have here. Now, from the initial look, you'll see arcade ROMs or arcade games. On this image, you won't see all the systems available because, well, we only have arcade games. So from the looks of it, we have a 61 light gun games, and I believe this might be the biggest library of light gun games compiled on any image, specifically for arcade ROMs or arcade games. Typically, arcade images are about 32 gigs, so this was a little bit bigger. I've set aside and added some beat 'em up games for you. Now, you may see other people out there advertising that they have an Arcade1Up image or build ready for you, and that is sadly not the case, because unless it has the 5:4 ratio script or video output scripts embedded for you, which you'll see here, the Raspberry video output, technically you can't consider an Arcade1Up because the image formats and stuff will be a little off because the monitors are using a 5:4 ratio. So one of the things you will also see here in this build is PlayStation games. Now, I couldn't find exactly all the good racing games I wanted to add, simply because a lot of the Sega games are 3D and will not run on the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. So obviously I added Need for Speed, which is one of my personal favorites, and of course I had to add in NFL Blitz 2000. As we all know, the arcade version, or if you don't know, the arcade version of NFL Blitz will not run on the Raspberry Pi, so I supplemented that with the NFL Blitz 2001 edition, which runs great. It's fully optimized, it runs really well, and it did not run well on Supreme V2, but it runs well here. It did also run well on the PlayStation version of the well, it wasn't a Supreme build, but there was a Supreme image made by Dirty Gaming that runs really well. So you should take a look at that on one of my videos. All right, we have the Neo Geo, has 145 games. Went ahead and everything's added for you. The custom art, everything is fully scraped for you as well. You will have to set up your own controller with any of these games, as you will be receiving this image with no controller set up. I know a few of you guys are out there hoping that I would set up the dolphin bar and stuff for you, but it's really impossible for me to do that because I have to send this out and shrink it for you guys with no controllers installed. So you get 145 Neo Geo games, 61 light gun games. You get Cody, Jukebox, Daphne games. You get 18. Most arcade images or builds you will see out there will only have 18. So here you, I'm sorry, will only have 3. So here you have a total of 18. Most of these I have went through these, maybe 1 or 2 games, but for the most part I've deleted the games on here that will not work at all. So I've tried to do most of the work for you guys. Actual arcade games in total, this isn't including the light gun games. You will have 2,343 games available. This has been taken from a 250 gig ROM pack. I took most of the prominently known arcade games that we know that will run on the system and added them here. And in some cases too, I also installed multiple copies of a game that either have a 2-player or 4-player version. So let's actually back out of here and take a look at some of the favorites. And on the favorites list, I've already went ahead and customized this for you guys and added in some of the top games for my era. And you will also have here, this is a prime example of what I've been talking about in regards to double copies of some of the ROMs. So this is Captain America and the Avengers, and set up for you is a 2-player and 4-player version. They're both the same game. However, if you are playing on the 4-player cab, this one's already set up for you, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you don't have to go into the dip switch settings and change the game from either 2 or 4. And for those of you out there that only have a 2-player cab, you could just click on this ROM and the game will load. It'll allow you to select whatever character you want. You don't have to access any of the dip switch settings, so you have your 2-player and 4-player variant. Let's scroll down here to the bottom. You have 4 different versions of the X-Men arcade game. You have your 2-player variant, you have a 6-player variant, and you have another 6-player variant, and you have a 4-player variant. This particular ROM, just like with Ninja Turtles, came in either 2 and 4-player formats. Even though Ninja Turtles didn't come in 6, the X-Men game had 2-player, 4-player, and a 6-player variant. So there's no way to access the ROM and change it from either 2 to 6. So I added in all the games for you, so that way everything is easier for you guys out there with either a 2-player, 4-player, and hopefully maybe even some of you have a 6-player cab out there as well. So that's already done for you. You're getting 2 copies of the X-Men game. One is the USA version, and the other one should be the Japanese version, which allows you to pick up power pellets halfway in the middle of the game. If you guys are not familiar with it, you can check out the Xbox 360 version that came out on the Xbox Live Marketplace a few years ago, and you can see the varied differences. Personally, I like the Japanese version because it gives you a little bit more you can do. And again, here you have a 2-player and 4-player Simpsons game already set up for you. And you're also getting 4 different versions of the Ninja Turtles game. 2 and 4 of the original Ninja Turtles game. And you're also getting 2 players and 4 players of Turtles in Time. Spidey the arcade game runs really well. Fully optimized. In fact, let's go ahead and start this one up just so you guys can see the difference. All the games here are defaulted, or most of them are defaulted to Final Burn Alpha. I've already went through most of the troubled ROMs and selected the best emulator for you. So for most of you guys out there who have problems running Tron works, Star Wars works. This one works fluidly with Final Burn Alpha. You won't have any lag problems at all. Yeah, I'll start up a game. Go select Spider-Man. And as you can see, there is no lag. This is actually one of the troubled ROMs that could have difficulty running if you don't have the right ROM set. A lot of times people can confuse that with the ROM or the build, but a lot of times it could be the optimization of the image or build itself. So it really depends. Alright, so let's back out of this. We'll take a look at a few more sections here, and then we'll move on to the settings and options. Got all your games here. These are just some of the ones I made favorite. But let's take a look now at some of the collections. So since this Supreme1Up was made specifically in mind with Arcade1Up customers, Arcade1Up users, I went ahead and made a special collections of Arcade1Up titles. So in this file, you will find all of the Arcade1Up titles that are here, categorized for you in perfect order, fully scraped. All the images are here. And in some cases, I think I went ahead and added in maybe 1 or 2 games. So for example, I think Strider has 1 and 2. I think I may have already put Strider in there as well for you. Okay, I only put the first one in there, but you can add the second one in there if you like. Karate Champ, Joust, Joust and Joust 2, Golden Tee. I added in a number of variant versions of Golden Tee for all of you guys out there who have Golden Tee. And you will also get the Gauntlet game, the 2-player and the 4-player ROM version. So again, for you guys out there who have either 2-player or 4-player cabinets, there's no need to download an additional ROM, and everything has already been set up for you. So I've tried to do as much as I can for you guys to make it easier on you. And then I've also customized some of the X-Men games as well. This particular build is capable of running up to 125 different systems. Now, there will be a full version released with the Supreme Unified versions. They have all the systems capable or involved, but keep in mind this is arcade only. Got Area 51, Aliens. Just going to scroll down really quick so you guys can see all the games that you will be included in this image. You can also find this available in the description below. I will provide either a torrent, Google Drive, and Arcade Punks will also be able to see this as well. "61 light gun games, all fully working. Works with either Amtrak or Dolphin Bar. I've also set up your beat 'em ups here as well. In fact, let me go to the beat 'em ups really quick. And just so you guys know, the Aliens vs. Predator game is typically defaulted at 2 players. I went ahead and already activated the 3-player version on here. Excuse me. So this is another ROM where going through the dip switch settings, you can change it from 2-player or 3-player. So I didn't think there would be a problem with it. So for you guys out there that may have a 3-player cab or 2-player, if you want to use the 3-player version, it's already fully activated for you in the dip settings. So there's nothing to worry about there. All right. You can activate your Steam link. You have that there. And you have Pixel and of course Kodi. So let's take a look at the full options of what this image and build can give you. At the top you have your audio tools, controller tools, emulation, Retropie, visual tools, fix my build, Raspberry config, Retropie, Supreme online tool. That is new. Switch to attract mode, system info, and weather. So with the system info and weather, you'll actually get the time, the date, you'll get the memory settings, how full your card is. So for example, this build is only 54 gigabytes. And let's take a look at the fix my build script. All right. So with the fix your build script, what this will allow you to do is revert all of your settings and everything back to how they were when you originally got it. There's been tweaks and improvements added. The basic system info obviously displays your basic system info and needs. The audio tools will allow you to configure your own audio settings, whether you have either 720p or 1080. This will also force the audio out of your HDMI as well. So you have all those there. And this is probably the most, or actually, I'm sorry, not probably, it is the most diverse and heavily loaded build you will possibly find through Retropie that has the most scripts available to assist your needs. And controller tools. You have controller selection script. You have your setup here for your light gun, Amtrak config, light gun Amtrak install EazyHax, reset all controllers, and you also have something here for your joypad. The reset all controllers configs is really good. So let's say, for example, if I gave this image to you and I didn't erase all the controllers, you could go here, select this option, and it would erase all the controllers on there for you. Or if you want to use this on your arcade cabinet, and then move it on to your TV so you can use an additional joystick, and your controller layout is acting funky and weird and you're having problems with it, you select this option. You select this option, and this will reset all your controllers for you. It will reset and start you off brand new. So everything here is already done for you. Next, you have your emulation tools. You have your Start Amesbury, Recast, which is the emulator for Dreamcast, Scum. You don't have to worry about these two right here, Scum or Residual, because they're not loaded. There's no ROMs on there for that. Amaberry, Amiga Configuration Editor, Dreamcast Time and Date. And I believe the Dreamcast editor has a specific script in here where you only have to set the controller up once with the time and date, and then you're done. So that was another improvement added to the Recast emulator. Just putting that out there, so when you guys do decide to download the full version of Retropie Supreme Unified and want to use either Dreamcast emulator, you know that, so that way you can go ahead and just take care of that once. And of course we have the Retropie tools. Everything here has been laid out for you. You got your Bluetooth. You can clear your last plate. So if I clear this right now, you see at the top where it says, or your top right where it says times played, if it says 5 or 10 and you want to reset this or give it to somebody else or just reset the counter at 0, this script will reset all your games played back to 0. It doesn't erase anything, just the times that you played will be erased. You got your desktop launcher, ES Collection, ES Gameless Utility, and you also have your Gpio shutdown utility. And I do want to make a mention of this really quick. A few weeks ago, there was something discovered where the Gpio script could allow your Raspberry Pi to be susceptible to hacking if people are driving through your neighborhood and want to access your home network router. You wouldn't have to worry about this if you fully shut off your Pi. However, if you are using this script and you allow your Pi to shut down and the light is still red on your Pi and you don't fully shut it off or unplug it from the wall, your Raspberry Pi device could be susceptible to hacking by people infiltrating this and accessing it through your network router and being able to access your personal files and all that other bad stuff. But however, if you fully turn off your Pi or don't access the internet or access your Wi-Fi or fully turn it down with the inline coupler installed, just make sure the red light is off. You don't have to worry about that. So this build, the Supreme Unified build, prevents all DOS attacks. So with this build, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff happening to you. All right, this build is not overclocked at all. A lot of the builds or images you guys may get out there would typically be overclocked, and that could be a very bad thing, especially if you don't have heat sinks, if you don't have a fan hooked up on your Raspberry Pi, you're just brand new to the hobby or just don't know exactly what you're downloading or who you're downloading it from. This is all stock. I can't remember the stock speed offhand with Raspberry Pi 3B Plus, so nothing has been overclocked. So even if you choose to install this and you don't have a heatsink or fan, you don't have to worry about your stuff frying over. You got your RetroArch, you got your RetroGuard NetPlay. If none of you guys have ever done that or used this feature, this allows you to play with other people online through the RetroArch NetPlay setting. You have your RetroPie reset utility, USB mode, and you can also run your ROM from another hard drive using a USB thumb drive or one of those other devices directly to your Pi. You don't even have to load it to the memory card. So that's what that setting allows you to do. What is my IP? That's very explanatory. It lets you know what your IP address is. And the Wi-Fi setting allows you to connect to your home Wi-Fi or your Wi-Fi that's in the area. Visual tools. This is probably one of the most upgraded and fit and added features to this Supreme Unified Supreme1Up build. All the bezels have been deleted for you. They were a pain in the butt. I can't stand bezels, especially if you're trying to use it on an arcade, arcade monitor, because you're already using a 5.4 monitor or another 32-inch TV, so you don't need all that additional stuff for arcade. So I went ahead and deleted them for you. You have your bezel project. If you want to re-download them, you can. You have the boot up theme randomizer, so you can select different themes here. You have Hursty's themes, launching screens, media removal kit, and you also have your Overscan on and off. This essentially allows you to make sure that the words on the screen are not cut off on your image or your build when you're playing your game, so you can see the menu clearly. Typically, this wouldn't be a problem with the games, but only the menu where you would have like the first letters of a word or something hanging off on the far right or far left of the screen. So, Raspberry video output. All right, so as I've said before, there's probably about 3, maybe 4 Arcade1Up ready images out there. The ones that I do know offhand are the Wolfenos image that Level 1 put out a few months ago. In fact, he was one of the original authors of the Raspberry Pi video output. And I believe PiNation and Dirty Gaming went ahead and took that idea and advanced it a little bit further. So let's actually take a look at that, because this is very important to you guys out there who have arcade cabinets and want to use different screen sizes and different ratios. All right, so this is what's added and that's new. You have a script here that will force your monitor to be CRT 4.3, CRT 16.9, 4.3, VGA 16.9 in the 640 by 480 format, 1200 720 for you got 720p and 1080p. So all of that here is done for you. So with the click of a button, you could just easily go in, select which format you have, which monitor you have, and this image will convert to your monitor. A while ago, you would have to go back into the boot screen of your RetroPie card, type in hashtag or erase the hashtag or #, however you want to see it, and configure that to make it work for your monitor. It was so old and antiquated, so I'm pleased to announce that as a result of these scripts being introduced to RetroPie, all those videos that you guys have seen in the past about formatting your monitors and knowing your screen ratios and going into your boot settings of your memory card and changing your settings, all those videos prior to January or so are all obsolete and a thing of the past. So with the click of a button, all you would have to do is select which ratio you want, and the system will automatically do it for you. Now, re-enabling auto detection may be a very important key factor. I even had a little issues in the past where if I wanted to screen record like I'm doing right now, but you click this re-enable auto detection, and this will allow your screen capture device or your TV to automatically detect your image. So, or your arcade, or this Supreme1Up image. So this is something very important to keep in mind if you're still not getting an image even after you have forced a display resolution. So let's go ahead and check out more screen settings here, because this is the bulk of why you guys would want to download this type of image. You have all of your video output settings here: 1080p, 720p, 400, 240, 5:4, and 4:3 ratio. This is what you guys who are in the Arcade1Up community will want to focus on if you're using a cab. Is you want to select this ratio of 5:4, is not 4:3 but 5:4, and this will automatically adjust all your video settings of your Supreme1Up and make it formatted correctly for your Arcade1Up system that you're already using at home. You also have enable overscan, disable overscan, backup, restore, and video output. For those of you guys who have been around the Retropie scene for a number of years, you know how crucial this is. You know how important this is, and you know how groundbreaking this is to have a script like this already built into your image. Again, you could download any image out there and someone can say, oh, it's ready for your Arcade1Up. That is true. You can use anything. I mean, you can use it on your computer, or you can use it on your Raspberry Pi and call it a Arcade1Up image. However, if it does not have this ratio output format, it is not an Arcade1Up ready image ready for you, because obviously the Arcade1Up units are in the 5:4 format. So, all right. This is where you can turn your RetroGarg shaders on or off. You have your video loading screens, skyscraper. Everything's already been added for you as far as being scraped, so you guys don't need to do any of that. And here, this is where you can add or select which splash screen that you would like to use for your image. I've already installed about 7 or 8 splash screens for you. They're set up on automatic rotation. However, if you do choose to use a specific splash screen that has been included, then you could go in here and select which one you want to start by default. And let's see, let's choose a splash screen here. And here are the list of the splash screens I've already included for you guys. So let's take a look at this one here called the Kiodiekin.
I can teach you, buddy.
Okay, and those are some of the splash screens that you will get included with this build. So I had to actually switch over to my PC in order to play it, just so you guys can get a better idea about what it would look like and everything. But spend some time making that for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy it and stuff. So let's actually switch back over to our system here, and we'll continue looking at the rest of the build. Everything is fully customizable, and I just wanted to let you guys know that this build and the amount of video selections they selected for every emulator and for every system is pretty incredible. I'll leave a link in the description down below to Regalod's YouTube channel where you can check out his video. Unfortunately, because this is an arcade only build, and there's only arcade ROMs loaded on here, you really won't get a chance to see all of the systems and all of the little video snaps for the menu on the attract mode side. However, you will see a few things as far as arcade and so forth, so we'll take a look at that right now. Alright, here we have the arcade. And typically here, this is where you would have your consoles. Obviously, we don't have any ROMs in here. So this is just a sneak preview of what you would have if this was the full version or a fully loaded build. So what he decided to do was go ahead and load a lot of the retro commercials during the time that each console was advertised. So here you're looking at Sony, and you got SNK Neo Geo. That gives you an idea about what you could expect from a build like this. And of course, all the collections that I added for you on the emulation station side of things, you'll also find it here on the attract mode side as well. Everything's been completely revamped. A lot of new videos here, customized layout. Attract mode is really good if you're using an arcade unit, and it just makes it really stand out and pop. It's an alternative to Hyperspin. So in case you ever want to just leave it on the attract mode side, you know, you can do that. The buttons are a little reversed, you know, as far as selecting either your A, B, or X to back out, but that's easy to navigate around. And of course, here you have your standard settings. We'll go in there. And of course, again, everything that's on the emulation station side of things, you will find it here on the attract mode side as well. You have your Raspberry config, fix my build, reboot to emulation station, Retropie setup, shutdown, Supreme online tool. Everything here is fully customizable. Here, of course, on the attract mode side and the emulation station, you can adjust the volume of your background music. So if you feel that your background music that is currently installed for you is a little too loud, this is where you would normally adjust it. And then you just go in, save it, and then you can just back out and lower the volume. But, you know, we put that there just to make sure that you have some option in determining your system. And, you know, this is something, if you guys are familiar with Supreme V2, that's the same option as well. You have that option to go ahead and do that. Now, for all of my Arcade1Up guys out there, there's been something in the community you guys have been asking for. And I'm not sure if you paid attention to it when I first started the video, but I will go ahead and reboot right now so you can take a look at it. Now, if you pay attention to the loading screen, you'll notice something that you really don't see too much on any type of Retropie build. And as I've stated before, this build is revolutionary going into the future. And something you've never seen on any Retropie build in existence. Now, pay close attention here. I wish I could freeze this for you, but I can't. And right there, you see that screen? If you want to hit pause right now, so now is a good time to do it. Okay. What that screen indicates is that there is a built-in server that each Pi would be connected to when you use this build. You have to be connected to the internet, and with this build, it would allow you, or actually what we can do with the server is do the leaderboard scores and have it updated on either a weekly or bi-weekly basis. So at that boot screen, we can put in high-ranking leaderboards from Centipede, Millipede, Joust, whatever games is your fancy, we as a community can upload that at the boot screen. So that's something there that's been tossed into the fray. And in addition to that, there is a rumor about peer-to-peer file sharing. So this is a fully loaded build, and it's only on this image and only on this build is that supported. So hope you guys enjoy that little thing there. Just wanted to make sure that we added on a few things. But pretty much, guys, I think that about does it for this review. I hope I didn't forget anything that was too important, but I think I've kind of touched bases with everything. I didn't mean to go this long. But feel free to drop me a line if you found this video helpful, or if you have some other ideas or tips. Please just comment down below and I'll get back to you. Also, I do have a Patreon account. If you'd like to submit donations to my Patreon, please go ahead and do that. I offer tech review on my Patreon account. I'm in the process of trying to streamline a lot of my time and energy into channels, because there's so many pages and groups that I'm subscribed to, and I wish I could get to everybody, but there's just so many people. So in order to get a best direct answer from me would either be on Facebook on the Retropie official group, or Patreon, or my personal Facebook. But more or less or not, it's better to either hit up Retropie official or my personal Facebook account. I do have a group account called Kiodiekin or Kiodiekin Clan. You can go, Daikin Clan, you can go ahead and subscribe to that as well. And of course, if you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm also on Twitter as well under Kiodiekin. So I think that kind of concludes that video, guys. And I really hope you got something out of it. So maybe till next time, excuse me, maybe till next time we can get around and chat, and hopefully you guys find this build and put it to use. And hopefully this build has been instrumental to you in arcade, modding your arcade, because the most influential part and the most important aspect of any arcade cabinet you're going to build is an award-winning, impressive image and build. Because if your peripherals and everything else isn't working, you're just going to run into a whole lot of problems later on down the line. So with that being said, guys, this is Kiodiekin signing out, and I hope you guys have a good night and enjoy this build. Really hope you enjoy it. Supreme1Up. Peace.